Hello, bonjour, Agathe Mathieu avec vous aujourd'hui et je vais vous parler d'inflammation. Alors, il y a une... Oh, I started in French again. Agathe Mathieu with you today. This is so strange, I don't know why. But anyway, here we are. Agathe Mathieu with you here today. And today we'll talk about a new term that has come up lately, inflammaging. As in it's a new disease that you might have. I'm telling you, this is crazy. But first, let me just tell you, to the ones who don't know me, I'm a living cuisine chef, and I've been eating this way for it'll be 19 years in August. And talk about inflammation, that's exactly what it resolved for me. You see my hands with the arthritis. I have toes as well that are crooked. And the toes, you know, when you have that with your toes and you cannot wear shoes because it rubs against the shoe, like a fancy shoe. You could wear running shoes, but I couldn't wear a fancy shoe. It would just rub against it and hurt. It doesn't hurt at all anymore. The hurt is totally gone. It's just amazing. So just by changing my way of eating, I got rid of the inflammation. And so, you know, it's not, in a sense, it's not a disease, it's a condition that has for me, in my case, had developed in my body back in 2003. That's when I made the change. Before that, like with time, it's slowly, that's what happened, it slowly built up to become chronic inflammation. But we need inflammation to start with. And let me tell you why. I did a bit of research. Always fascinating what I find. I just love it, love it, love it. So like I'm saying, don't label yourself too fast. I understand how you feel. I was there too, you know, with the pain the inflammation causes. In my case, with rheumatoid arthritis, couldn't open jars, and I was aching, and I couldn't curl my hands like this because you can't. It's all swollen, and it was awful. But hey, it all disappeared, vanish, resolve, reverse, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, 3 months of eating the way I teach to eat, it just disappeared and never came back. Never came back. It'll be 19 years in August. Imagine that. Never came back. So if I did it, of course you can too. I mean, you know, I'm human after all, just like you. So you can too. There's no question about that. Of course you can. So what is inflammation? And I got information online, quite a bit from Healthline. Great information I found there. And that information also is seen again in other sites like the Mayo Clinic or the WebMD or the, you know, other sites that also talk about those, you know, situation, quote unquote, illnesses will say the same. So what is inflammation? So your immune system creates inflammation to protect the body from infection, injury, or disease. There are many things you wouldn't be able to heal without if you didn't have the inflammation, the body creating that inflammation. And inflammation is classified into two main types. One is a healthy response from our body. The other one is a burden to our body. So the acute inflammation is the one that comes, you know, when something happens, it comes and it's so short and it's effective and it heals. So short in duration, it often resolves in 2 weeks or less. Symptoms appear quickly. This type restores your body to its states before injury or illness. So it helps resolve whatever might have happened. Chronic inflammation, on the other hand, is a slower and generally less severe form of inflammation at first. It typically lasts longer, and it occurs when there's no injury, and it doesn't always end when the illness or injury is healed. So chronic inflammation has been linked to autoimmune disorders and even prolonged stress. So here we go again. I mean, you just love to make it a disease. But it's you know, when you feel your body isn't right and you don't address why it isn't right, eventually your body can't take it any longer. And that's when, you know, those things happen, which are called autoimmune. But it's basically uh, an excess that you put on your body. You stressed it too much. Yes, you did stress your body too much. So what causes chronic or long-term inflammation? So chronic and acute condition address the condition before it becomes chronic. So chronic and acute condition. So what causes the chronic or long-term inflammation? There is a condition. There's something you feel. There's something you eat. There's something you do, and you feel it isn't right. But you just don't address the condition. You just keep on. You ignore it, and eventually it grows into being a long-term inflammation, chronic inflammation, and then inflammaging, as they call it. There are certain medications that can cause long-term inflammation. Certainly seen it in my birth mother. She had medication that caused, quite a havoc in her body, and that's difficult because what happens with pharmaceutical, for one thing, it's not a food, a plant, known by the body. So it comes in and it does what it does, but the body cannot at times, work with it. It kind of go stand back and it's like, oh yeah, do your thing because I don't understand you, I cannot work with you, but it comes in and does affect, your body hopefully in the right direction, but if not, it could have not good consequences. And when you think of it, many pharmaceuticals are made of ingredients from a botanical source. So when you suffer from something, like in my case, it was inflammation from the arthritis, was arthritis. And my diet made it so that all that was causing inflammation was taken out. And then the plants that were in my diet, because that's what vegan is eating plants, resolved the arthritis. So I was, through the healing from the plants, the nutrients from the plants, I healed my arthritis. So you see what I'm going here. So I didn't take any pharmaceutical. I just ate food differently, stop eating certain food and introduce other food, and it resolved it. And I know, of course, I've been eating this way since then. Why change? Why go back and suffer? And then the other also that can cause that chronic inflammation is exposure to irritants or foreign materials your body cannot easily eliminate. And what that might be, think of it for a second. I invite you to not ingest those irritants or foreign materials in the first place. And you know what they are. So we've been led to believe that all the foods approved by a government body and offered in groceries is good for us. It isn't. It isn't. Not all of it is. Man-made chemicals don't belong in our body. So herbicides, fungicides, growth regulator, antibiotic cocktail given to livestock, GMOs, that doesn't belong to in our body. So when we eat food that has been treated with those things, exposed to those things, we ingest the food. So it's in our body now, and it creates havoc. It does. Processed foods is another one. Denatured foods, lab foods, food that are made in labs, like not from the garden. Come on, it makes sense. Why would you eat food that came from a lab? You're you're human. You're not some sort of a experiment, and or I don't know what to call it. I call it Frankenstein food myself anyway. So those foods, they don't have a direct line of communication with our body intelligence, which is our microbiome. They don't. Those foods don't. Nature has created whole foods to provide the exact nutrient composition to nourish a higher creation, which is our body. So nature is supporting the health of our body, not food coming from a lab. It isn't. I know that, we like to think at times that we're smarter than nature, but no, we're not. We're just not. I mean, look at our body, right? Like, it starts with one cell. And then from that one cell, now I have eyes, I have hands, I have a nose, a mouth, I have, legs, I can walk, I can run. I mean, It's brilliant. So we're not that smart. Recurrent episodes of acute inflammation can also lead to chronic inflammatory response, and that's what I was, saying earlier. Is address when you feel your body isn't right. Address it, but address it with food. Look at the food you eat, and I'll tell you below the ones that you should not eat. When it comes to food, I, from experience, can tell you the answer to resolve that one is in your power, because you put the food on your plate, you choose the food you eat, so it's in your power. No one is shoving food down your throat and forcing you to eat a certain way, unless you're a baby and you're being spoon fed and you have no choice. But as an adult, you're not. So there are certain types of food that cause inflammation to creep into your body and to eventually worsen and become an autoimmune disorder. So the food includes the processed sugar, high fructose corn syrup. Processed sugar is listed under many different names. Actually, I found online there were up to 56. I heard even more than that. But a hint when you read the label, first of all, if it's not a word that you know, start questioning it. And then, but words that are ending in OSE, fructose, dextrose, maltose, galactose, lactose, sucrose, they're all processed sugar. Don't touch that. Don't touch that. Refined carbohydrate have had most of their fiber removed. And fiber promotes fullness, improves blood sugar control, and feeds the beneficial bacteria in your gut. That's fiber, that's part of the food. That's when you eat a whole food. Researchers suggest that the refined carbs in the modern diet may encourage the growth of inflammatory gut bacteria that can increase your risk of obesity and bowel disease. Bowel disease. Refined carbs have a higher glycemic index than unprocessed ones. High GI foods raise blood sugars more rapidly than low GI foods. So bad or simple carbohydrate includes sugars and refined grains that have been stripped of all bran, fiber, and nutrients. So you're eating, may as well eat the box, like they say, eat the cardboard box or the bag that it came into. It's empty. So you are investing your money, your time, your preparation and all into something that won't give you the nutrients, won't support the health of your body. Doesn't make sense, does it? So those things are bread, pizza dough, pasta, pastries, white flour, white rice, sweet desserts, and many breakfast cereals. They digest quickly, and their high glycemic index causes unhealthy spikes in blood sugar levels. They can also cause fluctuation in mood and energy and a buildup of fat, especially around the waistline. Who wants that? The next one, artificial trans fat. So which is the unhealthiest fats you can eat, artificial trans fat. They're created by adding hydrogen to unsaturated fat, which are liquid, to give them the stability of a more solid fat. On the ingredients label, trans fat are often listed as partially hydrogenated oils. Most margarines contain trans fat, and they are often added to processed food to extend shelf life. That's what I'm saying. Don't touch those processed food. Food high in trans fat includes French fries and other fried fast food. Some varieties of microwave popcorn. I would just stay away from the microwave altogether myself if I were you. Certain margarines and vegetable shortenings, packaged cakes and cookies, some pastries, and all processed foods that list partially hydrogenated vegetable oil on the label. Don't touch that. Basically, when you read the label, it has to be whole foods. If it isn't, you'll be in trouble. Alcohol. According to the Cleveland Clinic, once you take a sip of alcohol, your body prioritizes breaking down alcohol over several other bodily functions. So it addresses that right away because it's harmful, could be harmful for the body. The body doesn't have a way to store alcohol like it does with carbohydrates and fat. So it has to immediately send it to the liver where it's metabolized. Excess consumption of alcohol leads to the classic features of pathological liver inflammation. Processed meats, such as sausage, bacon, ham, smoked meat, pepperoni, some deli meats, and beef jerky. Processed meats contain more, and that was interesting. I stressed a little bit more. I put a little bit more information on that one you might not know. It's important to know. Processed meat contains more advanced glycation end products, and the abbreviation is AGEs, than most other meats. So AGEs are formed by cooking meat and some other foods at high temperature. They are known to causes inflammation. AGEs form in foods that have been exposed to high temperatures, such as during grilling, frying, barbecuing, roasting, baking, or frying again, sauteing, broiling, searing, and toasting. These cooking methods may make food taste, smell, and look good, but they may raise your intake of AGEs to potentially harmful levels. So, you love those things, I understand, once a week or even less, because you are putting a toll on your body in doing that. In fact, dry heat may increase the amount of AGEs by 10 to 100 times the level of uncooked food. I don't eat any cooked food myself, so I'm clear of that one. 10 to 100 times the level of uncooked food. That's how it compares. Food highest in AGEs include meat, especially red meat, certain cheeses, fried eggs, butter, cream cheese, margarine, mayonnaise, oil, and nuts would be the roasted nuts. Fried foods and highly processed products are also contain the high levels of this AGEs. Now, I will show you, it's called the NOVA Food Classification. You can get that document online. You just do NOVA Food Classification and you'll find the document. So I will share my screen and show you that document right now. Let me just see. I just need to put this out of the way so I can share my screen. Go. Ah, there we are. Share my screen, and it's right here. So you see on that document, oh, and then I'll do this. It talks about different level or different group. So group 1, which is unprocessed, minimally processed food, that's the one that is recommended to eat. Like the majority of your diet, if not all your diet. In my case, all my diet is unprocessed. Unprocessed or natural foods are obtained directly from plants or animal and do not undergo any alteration following their removal from nature. Minimally processed food are natural foods that have been submitted to cleaning, removal of inedible or unwanted parts, fractioning, grinding, drying, fermentation, pasteurization, cooling, freezing, or other processes that may subtract part of the food, but which do not add oil, fat, sugar, salt, and other substances to the original food. So the way what I teach, of course, I will peel my carrots, or if I need to. My crackers, I don't. I just wash my carrots and keep the peel. But that's part where you subtract part of the food. But that's what it is. You use part of the food. I don't use the carrots I get, unless I would have my own garden. I can have those carrot greens, which are so delicious. But I don't have my own garden yet, so. Yeah, so carrots, there you go, from the garden to plate. That's the food that I make, basically. And then when we talk about animal food, we just talked earlier how you would maybe cook it that wouldn't be, damaging for you with those AGEs. Or you eat little of, that's basically what it says. And here you have a list of what they suggest that you can eat that are part of that food. And as you can see, there's a lot of that is vegetables, nuts and seeds, and fruits and legumes. Um, it's a big part of that section. And then lower down, it shows the other section, which is the oil, fat, salt, and sugar, which is, it's been extracted. So it's not that group 1 anymore. And then we go to the group 3, which is a processed food. And that's when they say to, keep away from. And that's what I'm telling you. That's what you find mainly on grocery shelves. I would suggest in your community, find the artisan in your community, because they would have a less harmful process of making their product. And then the ultra processed foods, I guess that would be the lab food that I was referring to. Don't touch that. It's what they say here: sports drinks and canned and packaged, dehydrated. I guess it's not the lab food yet. The food made in lab would be in group 5, which is, it's getting worse and worse, right? Okay, so that's that part. Let me go back now to my document here so I can continue. So you see, you have, like I said, you have it in your hands. You make the choices. You put the food in your grocery basket. And when you choose, now you've seen the food that creates that inflammation, that you are feeding your body with food that down the road could create a serious problem for you. I'm 64 years old now. I started with the arthritis, I was 45. And literally, I have more energy now than I had, of course, when I was in my 40s, because I don't have ache and pains. I don't have, like fatigue, all that comes. Inflammation just ruined your life. So I don't have any of that. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to eat the way I do, because of all the energy that I feel and all the things I'm able to do at 64, and I'll do even more. And to me, looking at growing old, it's like, oh yeah, sure, bring it on. I'm having a great time. I've got all that knowledge that I accumulated all those years, and I can take on projects way more efficiently than before, and bring it on. I love getting older. So imagine you could too. And that's what I'm suggesting. Let me show you now another share, because I want to give you solutions, of course. I do have an ebook that, when you go on my website, you can go to my ebook, and in there you'll find recipes. Let me show you those recipes to you. Okay, let me just see. I had it earlier. Telling you, me and technology sometimes we're funny. Oh, there we go. Recipes. It's in my book. So, and I can show you there you go, that page here. So that's the content of the book. So you'll know more, you'll find out more about living cuisine and our microbiome and acid forming and alkaline forming, which is also foods, which is also a cause of inflammation, of course. So you stay away from acidic food, which is all the ones that I just named earlier. And then, but yeah, you have recipes. So I've given recipes into that book, and here's what I suggest. You don't go to the gym 2 days and you go, I've got muscle now and I'm strong. You have to keep going. So I suggest the same thing with the food. Get my ebook. You have a start. It gives you recipes for the dressing that that you can use, and you can modify that dressing for flavor, add different seasoning to it. Eat a very large salad at the beginning of every meal. I eat salad for breakfast. Not all the time, but you know what? Like 5 out of 7, I will eat salad for breakfast. So eat a large bowl of salad. And then you have some sweets as well. So I'm not making you miserable and not having any desserts. You do have desserts in there. Do it for 30 days. Stick to it for 30 days. The only thing you have to lose, which is major, it's your health. If you don't do something now, it will creep in and it will make yourself miserable. You see, I mean, look around you, who around you, in your friends, your family, people you know that are older, that have what I'm sharing with you. No ache and pains. I wake up in the morning. I'm good to go. I have energy like there is no tomorrow. I'm active. I love what I do, and I'm researching when I'm not doing what I'm doing with you today. I still have a business, and I bring food to my clients, and 16 hours a day. I'm going and going and going 16 hours a day. And yes, when I put my head on the pillow, I sleep, but I don't yawn in between. I'm not like, oh my gosh, give me a nap. I'm so tired. I have none of that. And you know what it is? It's very simple, is in your body, you have those red cells. When you eat the way I'm suggesting you to eat, which is the group 1 food, your red blood cells are charged with a negative charge. So when they meet each other, they bounce. They bounce like this. And so your body is bubbling with energy. And when you don't eat that group 1, you eat more of what creates inflammation and all that, the cells clump together. And so when they move around, it's a bunch of them, like, however many of them. And it's hard to move around because they have to pull all that, however many. It's not just one that is bouncing against another one, and they move around like this in your body. So that's simple as that. Simple as that. I will show you something else. Let me just see. I have to stop that share. I'll go to another. Oh, well, I could have stayed there. Oh, no, actually, wait a minute. I have to do this first. Again, share my screen. I'm learning. Thank you for your patience. The next thing is I want to show you. Okay. Whiteboard I saw. Oh, here, of course. Here we go. Am I sharing now? No, I'm not. Okay, let's do that again. There, yay. This is my website. And you have, I show you how I teach, what I teach, and what will happen. You'll make delicious and quick and easy food. You'll learn the tips and tricks. You'll learn to sprout, which is then it takes a seed, makes it into a plant. Otherwise, a seed is acidic. You learn about what equipment you might need. It's not a big investment, and it's so easy to care for and clean. You learned how to make meals like in 10 minutes. So you prepare, like, you look at that lasagna there. You prepare your sauce, but when it comes to assemble the lasagna, it takes 10 minutes, literally. And then you put it in your fridge, and then you cut it, and you're good to go to serve. Imagine that. And also, I had a cafe. So those 5-star dishes, that's what I have. I put into my courses here. That's what you'll be able to learn. And I will guide you into an easy and successful culinary experience. You can count on me. You will learn to make food and be successful. You will not fail. It will not taste like, oh, I don't, it will taste delicious. It will taste just, and there are reviews at the bottom there on my website that says exactly that. Colleen says exactly that. She used to come at my cafe, and she has my classes, and she can recreate what she has at my cafe. So I'm teaching in a way that you can recreate what what I'm showing you here. Like when you see all that beautiful food, you'll be able to recreate that, and tasty and delicious. I mean, it's like beyond delicious. I've always had people come into my cafe and say, never mind if it's raw food, it's delicious. So you learn about all that. Here at the bottom, you have all the classes that are offered. You have this cake here that is free. So you can click on that one and learn how to make it, and you'll see my teaching style. You'll see how easy it is. And that's the same when it comes to all the other projects. Really, it's really, really easy to make. And you also can do a discovery call, so get in touch with me, and then we can chat, how you can introduce that in your life. I also offer coaching as you are going along your journey. You can leave me a message here, and then I'll get back to you and answer questions you might have, or there might be a subject you'd like me to talk about. I'd be happy to know that. And then my story is here, so you'll learn about my family and all the health concerns we had that totally got all resolved, which is, you will blow your mind. So there you are. So that's my presentation for today. And I'll finish with one little note here. And I'm saying to you that start investing into your health saving account. You can buy that one. It's something that you, with your own doing, you'll start investing in there. Imagine growing old and enjoying life all the way to the end. Imagine your cocktail of health is a brightly colored, delicious salad instead of pills. Imagine no aches, no pains, and have boundless energy. Imagine a man, a woman without his or her health have one dream. When you have your health, you have 1,000 dreams. Wishing you a wealth of health for you and yours. And we'll see you again next week. Take good care.